Next up is Matthew's request. He wants me to dive back into the world of Mondo TV and spend some Christmas time in New York. For those who haven't been following me for long, Christmas in New York is part of a multi-series story from Mondo TV. It began with Simba the King Lion, technically spinning off from their Jungle Book adaptation, expanded into Simba Jr. to the World Cup, had ties with The Legend of Sleeping Beauty, and wrapped itself up with Winter and the Golden Child. The movie seems to take place somewhere during Winter and the Golden Child, even though Wikipedia lists this as coming out in 2007, while Mondo World Wiki says 2005, which I doubt because that would put it before Winter and the Golden Child's release in 2007. Nevertheless, the English dub is separate from the TV series, as the Golden Child Airy is not voiced by Veronica Taylor. I really don't know who in the world would want to dub these, and I really don't know why they would keep relying on North Korea to animate these weird shows and movies, but let's get it over with. This is Christmas in New York. We open with Arbor, the great Deku Tree wannabe, looking on in the Big Apple, even though he's usually based elsewhere. Impressive that he doesn't get a single snowflake on him. The opening doesn't know what it wants to do. We get our title card, which has Santa's reindeer, before abruptly going back to New York shots. They even show something from later in the movie, as we see our main character sitting along the wall here. What am I even doing? If I call out every odd thing that happens here, we'll be here forever. So let's jump back to the jungle, where Fox, Winter, and Ari are talking about how hot it is.
Isn't it marvelous? So, what do we want to do? And you?
It's way too hot to do anything.
Why couldn't we have the Ash voice? At least that sounded closer to a child than whoever you are. Because the dogs can't stand the heat, even though they've been living here for multiple series, Ari has the idea of going somewhere else. They ask Wizard Owlbeard for help, but Fox suggests going to New York.
What is this silliness? Why do you want to go to New York?
Because these dogs aren't made for this climate. Besides, they've been to New York and Simba Jr. to the World Cup, so it's not the first time we've seen it. But no, Fox insists because it's Christmas in New York. Ari also wants to see Father Christmas, aka Santa Claus, because he wants to give him a letter. If I have to guess, he wants to see his parents, much like in Winter and the Golden Child. Though he does ask for other things for his close companions, which is nice. Ari is given some winter clothes for his little journey, and you know, is it really a good idea to be getting him outside the jungle? Wouldn't the forces of evil come after him? Or are they on holiday too?
But don't you think those buttons are a little garish?
Hey, you are right, Fox. Now that I look at them better, I see that they are rubies. Very beautiful.
Okay, 1. Why the filter effect on him? He sounds rather creepy now. 2. Why does Ari have ruby buttons? If they had to announce it, it must be a plot device for later. So into the tree hole that wasn't there a moment ago. Through the power of off-screen transition, Arbor walks to New York and lets our heroes out. Did he actually walk all the way to New York? Because that would take more than 2 days. I believe he has teleportation powers or something, so why not lead with that? Gosh, these snow effects are really something. You can barely see past it, and the quality of the footage I'm using doesn't help either. And like with other Mondo shows, there's padding. Hell, the movie might put its predecessors to shame because it runs for an hour and a half. So imagine having irrelevant scenes play for that long.
We missed you. The park has never been so quiet.
Everything was too quiet.
Did you see how funny that doggy in the scarf is? Look, 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 look. Huh?
And it's hard to tell sometimes if the story even matters here. The movie is a one-shot, and even then it contradicts a lot of details from the older shows. For instance, Fox had a girlfriend that lived in New York, you know, before he decided to hit on Light, a child. But neither of them show up here, and Fox doesn't even try to find his dog girlfriend. Instead, he goes for a hot dog vendor named Pedro, who seems to know him well. Fox gets hot dogs out of that, but
I am really not hungry.
Oh, don't worry, child. Here there is a sausage only for you.
I hate how he said that. I gotta love the photorealistic image of this beer bottle as they enter the city. Fox tells the others to wait so he can scout ahead, I guess? And after a minute of him going through traffic, he finds a pet store and steals a couple leashes from there. I guess he didn't want his friends watching him steal, but he also wants to make sure Ari doesn't look conspicuous as he takes his dogs for a walk. Fair enough, I guess?
Let's word immediately.
Yes, but I still don't know what they're for.
You have to put them around our necks to hold the leash.
You what? I don't want to be tied to anything, and even more to keep my friends prisoner.
Ari, I get why you feel that way, but this is Fox's old stomping grounds, so you should listen to him. They finally leave the damn park, only to run into a dog catcher?
Dirty stack of fleas! This is the most beautiful Christmas gift that I could have. Now you're in a trap. This time you won't escape from me.
I believe the job only calls for catching stray dogs. That's what the leashes are for, as Fox predicted. This guy's just being an asshole.
This time you'll go to prison.
Oh, so it's like in Bingo. Man, that was forever ago. They get by when Ari claims that Fox is someone else. So whatever conflict we could possibly have just vanishes in thin air. Uh-oh, photorealistic dolls of Mickey and Minnie? Good thing Disney can't sue them because who would even watch this? And surprise teleporting Winnie the Pooh!
Is that you dirty little kids again? Get out of here!
The hell's your problem? I think they're allowed to look through the store windows. So Winner retaliates by tripping the guy. That'll show him. Is anything of substance gonna happen? Next, there's a discussion about getting something for the animal kids back home. Ari then learns that humans get the things they want by buying them, so that means needing money. But how are they gonna get it?
Hey, get that out of your head. I don't want to be a robber. Leave me alone.
Also, does that sign say harem? There's a building out in public that is called that? Maybe it's from the same artist who put a whiskey store next to the store called Toy. While looking for something to eat, our three heroes spot Santa and try to beeline their way towards him like it's Frogger. How did no one crash during this? Alas, that Santa turns out to be a helper Santa who has to explain what his job is. But then he also wants Ari's letter for reasons.
Hey, where are you going now? Where are you going? Don't you want to give your letter to Santa Claus? I'll give it to Santa Claus.
I'll wait till Father Christmas comes here and give it to him.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
You know, the Mondo TV shows tend to have similar pacing problems and an overabundance of filler. But at least stuff happened in those. Nothing's really happened since coming to New York. They do some minor side quests in hope of finding Santa Claus, but they don't contribute to that end goal and do little in the ways of character development. If anything, I'm more intrigued by all the weird designs of this New York City and the awkward as hell animation. Ari gets told that he needs to learn the names of all the reindeer, which will mean nothing by the end, as we'll soon see. But for now, he and company end up at a soup kitchen, and we get more people who know Fox. Well, maybe too well.
Hey, Fox!
This is where Ari meets a girl named Tracy, who tells him about the soup kitchen and why it exists. Gotta say, it's a pretty interesting sequence since he has no conception of the outside world and the poverty that exists there. That he is also royalty back home makes him all the more ignorant, so he decides to give away one of the rubies he has on him. At least that'll make some money for the church. Oh crap, the snow's falling again, and it's gummed up the road, so no doubt this is a national emergency. A dog picks a fight with Fox, but Ari intervenes. Ari then gets two reindeer names out of this encounter, Rudolph and Comet. But then Winter has a better idea.
If you need information about dogs, you ask a dog. If you need information about reindeer, you must ask Bimbo.
Don't you mean Buckshot? Oh, whatever. They gotta get past the dog catcher again if they want to get back to the park. Ari distracts the guy by calling for help, and when our heroes sneak by, they also trip him for good measure. But as our heroes sneak into the park, we see Dogcatcher Man sitting on a bench feeding birds and...
Yeah, well, I understand this was the best way to avoid me taking this road, and you've done very well. Fox is a genius, and he knows the park. You can't imagine how much I'd like to have a dog just like him.
Where did this come from? Whatever, his name's Angelo.
Yo, Angelo.
He has a daughter named Miriam, who uses a wheelchair because she can't walk, and he also has a wife, which makes Ari miss his mother a lot more. That's when the Snowflake Fairy shows up?
I'm the Snowflake Fairy, and I'm here to make your wish come true, but only one wish.
Well, obviously he can't skip to the good ending of his series, so he just wishes for Miriam to be able to walk again. That's nice. Anyway, back to Arbor. The other animals ask him to take them to the Black Forest. They meet Bimbo and ask him about Santa and his reindeer.
Then you must tell us everything you know, because we have to find him.
For some reason, Bimbo is only obligated to give them some of the reindeer names. Considering there's a whole ass song about Rudolph that most people know, whether they celebrate Christmas or not, why not just ask some random person about them? Maybe that song doesn't exist in this universe. But our heroes do learn that Santa lives at the North Pole. Agreed. However, Arbor can't take our heroes there because there are no trees for him to take root. Boo-hoo. But don't worry, Bimbo can take them to a house in the woods where there are the 7 dwarves? No, wait, there are clearly 8 in this room. So they're clearly different. Oh wait, they are actually elves, which makes sense as they're making toys. Yeah, what is going on? Ari's party can only watch from outside as Bimbo talks to one elf, who looks like Harides from One Piece, about getting Ari's letter to Santa.
Oh, I wish I could hear what they're saying to each other.
Now it's too late to do anything.
Turns out Ari can just go back to New York and drop his letter in the mailbox, because Santa is going to receive it that way. Somehow.
So you can post the letter in the mailbox, and the postman in New York will be in time to give it to Santa Claus. Stop! Stop! The names of the reindeer.
What's going on? Oh, and he just randomly drops the names of the reindeer. Or most of them. Not like Ari can hear them, or could he? Nothing is consistent anymore. And oh my god, the building has a face? I can't keep this up. Even by Mondo standards, this movie is too weird for me. After spending a few hours sleeping, our heroes go back to New York to finally drop off that damn letter. That should be the end of the movie. Or at least the point where we start wrapping up. But we have a half hour left, so we need to find some way to keep the movie going. We get this from a dog named Serpico, who speaks to Ari about freeing the dogs despite them being cool with him. This leads to a scene in an orphanage where our heroes learn a little more about Santa. They also get food from Sister Maria, but Ari is now sad because the kids here won't have a Merry Christmas. So like with the soup kitchen, he decides to give away one of his rubies. But Serpico says that it must be sold to gangsters?
I'll show you the goods, but let me see the money before.
So scary. You're really tough. The money is here.
Well, this won't go wrong at all. Gangsters won't hurt children.
Now get that snotty boy out of the way, and that flea bag too.
No, what are you doing? Leave us alone or I'll call.
Oh boy. Luckily, because of Serpico, our heroes are saved by a bunch of stray dogs. The gangsters flee, Ari finds one of his ruby buttons, and they help the kids celebrate Christmas by delivering some goods and a tree. Sister Maria gets a present in the form of money, which was probably stolen, so let's hope no one tracks it down. Ari finally gives all the names of the reindeer to the helper Santa, and then is told to go home and wait for the actual Santa. Ari sees a cloud projecting reindeer lights. They think of waiting and, oh my god, why isn't this over? They go back to the church with the beer bottle on the table. Then people talk, eat, blah blah blah. The gang go to wait outside, and Ari dreams of Santa bringing his parents to him. I'd find this enchanting if it weren't so confusing, because I guess it isn't actually a dream. It's really them, though they can't really stay. But Ari wakes up and spends time with his parents. I don't know.
I'm gonna kill that snowman!
No,
I'm gonna kill it!
It's not worth it! It's not worth it, Lupa!
And then the dogs have their own Christmas party. And then everyone wakes up, thinking it was a dream, but the snowman is still here, so it really did happen after all. Everyone then gets presents as credits roll. Oh sure, we get a credit for a dubbing director, but not one for the voice actors? What did I even watch? Nothing about this movie makes any sense. It starts with the overall goal of Ari reuniting with his parents with the help of Santa, but then we veer off to some weird adventure through New York to dink around and meet characters who don't do very much. There are still a lot of Studio Sec animation problems, from inconsistent scene transitions, awful perspectives with people and objects, and a lot of unnecessary over-animation. Then there's the repetitive dialogue that can be weird in an endearing way for like 5 minutes before becoming grating. So this was hard to sit through, and I wouldn't even recommend watching this out of morbid curiosity, because this was so boring. So we're gonna need something good for next time, and luckily I have just the thing in the form of a Studio Ghibli movie. I'll see you then!